At the end of the day, I'm doing what feels right for me and chasing down my dream. I'm not using GoPro products anymore unless the Hero 9 comes out soon and has some absolutely blow your doors off features. I said I wasn't gonna do a video on the Hero 9. I said I wasn't gonna get it. I got it. GoPro Hero 9 Black review right now. Action cameras for over 6 years now. My first ever GoPro I got back in 2015, it was the GoPro Plus. It was like the original GoPro that it didn't come out of the case, and then from there to the Hero 4 Silver, the 5, the 6, all the way up to the 9, here we are today. In that time, from my first GoPro to now, I've progressively been more and more disappointed as the models have kind of worn on, and I'm not going to tell you why, I'm just going to show you. This is the tip of the iceberg as far as reasons why I'm disappointed in GoPro. But first off, I want to give a quick disclaimer before we start. Insta360, this company, they make the 1R, they make the 1X2, they make a lot of great cameras. I work with them on testing cameras, I test cameras for them, I get using my cameras early. I want to be honest about that, they do not pay me. However, they did send me the Hero 9 Black about 3 months ago, and they sent it to me because they wanted me to test it, tell them what I liked, tell them what I didn't like, kind of give them some feedback for some upcoming future cameras. I figured since I've had this camera for the last 3 months, testing it, kind of putting it through its paces and seeing if the Hero 9 Black has changed anything since the Hero 8 and previous cameras before that, I'd give you my full review. There's a lot of reasons why I'm disappointed with GoPro, why I don't like using GoPros. There's a reason why I used Insta360 1R. There's a reason why I have 2 Osmo Actions. Any action camera out there is better than a GoPro in my opinion, and this is why. Functionality is more important than any of the bells and whistles you could ever put on a camera. If I can't turn the camera on, press record, get the footage that I like, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it doesn't matter if it's in 8K, it doesn't matter if it's in 500 frames a second. If I can't get the shot, it doesn't matter. And I talked about this in last year's review with the Hero 8 Black. When the GoPro freezes and does all this loopy crazy shit to the point where you cannot even film. Can we not fix the GoPro freezing issue? This happened all the time on the 6 as well, and on the 7 too. Rinks are closed right now. The only place that I've been able to skate for the last 3 months in Canada has been on the outdoor rinks. In Winnipeg, it gets cold. It gets minus 20, minus 30. It was minus 50 a couple days ago. So when you take this camera and you put it in that environment, the battery just drains like you wouldn't believe. Like it sometimes the battery will be at like 60 or 70% and it'll just turn off and the camera won't turn back on again. These issues make it, as somebody who, I use these cameras on a daily basis, I use action cameras every day to film these videos, it makes it impossible for me to use them because they don't work. The best analogy that I have is the Titanic. Bells and whistles, biggest ship of its time, fastest ship, all this stuff. But you couldn't avoid hitting an iceberg on the maiden voyage. It's not all negative things. Every product has its pros, every product has its cons. These are some of the great things that the Hero 9 Black does. Now I personally think anytime you film with the GoPro, the colors always look good, a little bit saturated, a little bit sharp. Some people don't like that. I personally like the look of it, so GoPro colors, they always look tip top. Secondly, outdoor settings, obviously you have perfect lighting when you're outdoors in the sun. Things look great. Things look very, very crisp. They look very nice. They look almost fake in a good way, if that makes sense. The downside to that is when you're outdoors at night, from the hours of 5 p.m. to about 8 a.m. the next day, don't even bother turning your GoPro on if you're going outside. But for whatever reason, the night lapses look really good. So GoPro has a time-lapse mode, so when you put the GoPro on a night lapse mode, it adds motion blur, and for whatever reason, as you can see here, they look great, and they still look great in the Hero 9. I'm confused why the night lapses look so good, but they can't figure out the regular footage. I'm again, cart before the horse. Another thing GoPro does really great is their operating system. As you can see here, it's simple. A couple buttons, you're into different modes, and if you want to change a couple different things, you want to change the mode that you're shooting in, just like that. There we go. Now you can change all the modes that you're shooting in. You can change up the settings. You want to shoot in slow-mo, you want to shoot in 5K. It's a very user-friendly, almost dummy-proof operating system, which my mom could use a GoPro tomorrow. I can use a GoPro, you can, it's great. In the last 2 years, they've kind of complicated things a little bit. They've been adding maybe a little too much, kind of complicating the menus. I would say now it's very, very on point with a Osmo Action operating system or the Insta360 operating system. The only downside of the Insta360 operating system is that the screen is so small with it being modular. Outside of that, they're all in the same playing field as far as operating system goes today, 2021. Obviously, I make vlogs. A lot of people do make vlogs. GoPros, if you're in a pinch, they're great for having a vlog clip. Having the selfie screen in the front is great, but it plays back in 5 frames a second. See how laggy that is? See how choppy that is? When I move the camera, it's not in sync. That's because that front screen plays back in about 5 frames a second. If I'm trying to line something up, if I'm vlogging in real time, that delay in that 5 frames per second doesn't really do me any good. I'm better off shooting here on a Canon 90D where I have the flip out screen, I have a selfie screen, or on the Osmo Action where the front facing screen is actually in real time at about 30 frames per second. Yeah, it kills the battery a little faster, but it's great. If you're vlogging, it's good. Could be better. Another thing they added for this year is it shoots in 5K, only shoots in 30 frames. So if you want to shoot some action stuff on the ice like me, you want to shoot some basketball clips, some running clips, some biking clips, only 30 frames per second. You should probably be doing it in 60 frames if you want it to look good. I mean, I guess you can do it in 30 frames, but when you compare the 5K to the 4K footage, it looks identical. There is really not much of a difference for the most part. The only difference would be 5K image, you have more information, more pixels, you can punch it in. So for me, when I set a camera up and I'm just filming myself, if it's not perfectly on angle, if something gets a little bit out of frame, I can just crop it in more and it doesn't look absolutely terrible. Like, it's not looking 720p or 280 like 2006 YouTube. You get what I'm saying. So the stabilizer, the Osmo Action, the 360, they all have an electronic stabilizer, so it simulates a gimbal. So basically, if you're shaking the camera, you got Parkinson's, your 90-year-old grandma's holding it, it's not gonna look totally unusable. It'll fix a lot of the shaking, it'll fix a lot of the distortion, shall we say, but it's not gonna fix all of it. None of them are perfect, none of them are terrible, they're all very good. This is the best thing about GoPro. This is a GoPro branded clip-on GoPro branded clip. It works with the Osmo Action. It works with the Insta360. All GoPro attachments, whether you're using the clamp, the suction cup, they all are interchangeable and they all work with the other action camera brands. So for me, I like to use the Insta360 1R. I then use the GoPro mounts and attachments. So the jaw clamp, the suction cup, they all work great, and I personally like that combo best with my Insta360, or if you're using the Osmo Action, whatever you do, GoPro does make very good mounts. There's so many negatives that I could nitpick. I'm just gonna focus on a couple of the small ones. For example, this is my Hero 8 Black. It died last year in the ocean in Florida. Reason being, GoPro switched, and I don't know why, to this waterproof door. Clips off, you put it on, and basically it holds the battery and everything in there watertight. The problem, and you just saw it right here, the problem is it doesn't actually hold properly. In my opinion, it doesn't create a watertight seal. So when I was in Florida last year, swimming in the ocean, huge wave comes in, knocks off the door. Now my GoPro's hooped. Yeah, I left it in rice for like a month, but let's be honest, this swimming in the ocean for 5 minutes ain't gonna come back to life in a month of rice. This waterproof door cost me my Hero 8 Black, which I bought at a discounted rate. GoPro gave me a couple bucks off last year for it, but it ruined my Hero 8 Black. The Hero 9 is exactly the same. This was a $500 mistake last year. Hopefully you don't make the same. When you're in cold environments, the battery that drains really fast. If you're in a hot environment, the battery gets so hot it overheats, the camera turns off, it won't turn back on. It freezes, the SD cards get corrupt, you gotta reformat the cards. These are the problems I'm talking about, like when you go to just film. You just wanna film some just bare bones, simple shit. It doesn't work. It blows my mind that they haven't fixed this in 9 iterations of this camera. This has been a problem since day one. It's still a problem. Audio on an action camera, not great. I'll be honest, all audio on all action cameras is not great. The only exception is the Insta360 1R 1-inch edition. By the way, the audio is great. I'm pretty positive you'll be able to hear me here because the audio on the ice is so fantastic.
Flat color profile look good. In post, Trav will probably butcher the color grading though.
I also hit this with a puck, which I'll tell you about in a second, but audio on this is really good. You don't even need a mic. It is so good. It's actually usable. Audio from any of the other action cameras is garbage. Now, someone's gonna call me biased here, but this is the big regret that I have. Insta360 uses a proprietary glass technology that they say is 3 times harder than any of the other competitors, shall we say. So I've taken direct pucks off this and nothing has happened to the 4K. The 1-inch edition is basically like a DSLR style lens on an action camera, and they told me very specifically when they gave it to me, don't use this on ice, you will break it. I used this on ice for about 6 months. I hit with multiple pucks, multiple times, nothing happened to it. One day, I flipped a little puck, I sauced a puck at the camera, and
that sounded like you might have cracked.
Nope, she broke. Like this, the cap didn't break, the camera did, which is insane.
It didn't break the lens cap. Perfectly intact, perfectly good. It broke the actual lens, which I'm still confused how and why that happened. But to give you an idea of the durability, both of these collectively have probably taken about 10 plus pucks off them, specifically off the glass and off the lens cover. It finally took about 10 tries for it to finally break. GoPro Hero 4 Silver, GoPro Hero 4 Black, GoPro Hero 7 Black. Granted, this wasn't a puck, but GoPro Hero 8 Black. The durability is not good enough, and it's the number one reason why when you spend $500 on one of these cameras, because right now on Amazon, I think they're on sale for $530 Canadian, regular 600 bucks. It's not worth your money because they don't last. They're not designed to be durable. GoPro claims that their action cameras, they're durable. If you're filming a couple clips around the house, you're filming your vacation to Hawaii, to New Mexico, probably great. You know, you get a couple clips here and there. If you're doing what I do, and I use them in action sports, I use them every single day of the year, you're gonna find out whether they work or whether they don't. And GoPro doesn't hold up over that durability testing and over that abuse that I put it through. I've had the Osmo Action for over a year. I've had 2 of them actually. I'm using the Insta360 for over a year. The 1R, the 1X2, the original 1X, I haven't had any issues. The 360 1X is a little bit different of a situation, but I'll get to that in a different video, probably next video coming up. Here's how I'm gonna summarize this. Think of it like if you go to buy a brand new truck, world-class towing. You can pull everything you can imagine. You can pull like 6 RVs with this truck. You got nice tires, it looks good, great seats, great stereo, all this great stuff. But you gotta fill the gas tank up every 10 kilometers because it's out. You gotta fill it all the way up. It's a $100 fill every 10 kilometers. And on top of that, when you buy the truck, it doesn't come with an engine. That's literally what you get when you buy a GoPro. You get all these bells and whistles, but it's not functional. And so I don't recommend GoPro to anybody. But I'll throw a link down in the description if you want to pick up an Insta360 1R or the 1X2 360 camera. They're both great. Keep in mind I'm biased, but there's an affiliate link if you want the 1R or the 1X2. That concludes my review on the Hero 9 Black. The next video I'm going to put up is going to be a full review dedicated to the 1X2. I've been using this for over 6 months now. This thing is dope. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.